Hello everyone, I hope you are all doing fine and you are healthy in this pandemic process. Today I will mention displacement in gene rice white Sargasso Sea. And displacement is a broad concept, so I narrowed my focus on two main characters of the novel. So today I will start with what displacement is and I will explain displacement of the main protagonist Antonie and displacement of Antonie's husband. And let's start with the definition of displacement. In its most literal sense, displacement refers to the act of moving or being put out of the usual or original place, and it can be migration, desertion, exile, eviction, banishment. They are all different kinds and forms of displacement. And also, displacement frequently forces subjects to confront a sense of loss, alienation, and disorientation, but it may also lead displaced subjects to experiment a taste of newly gained power and freedom. In any case, the displaced undergo a process of transformation and renewal that involves a revisioning of identity. Okay, let's go on with displacement of Antonie. And as you know, Antonie is our main protagonist, and she suffers displacement most. And there are three places in Jamaica where Antonie feels she belongs to. She is happy to live in these three places. The first one is Colibri, Antonie's birthplace, where she feels safe. And as you see on the screen, she says the golden ferns, the silver ferns, the orchids, the ginger lilies, and the roses, the rocking chairs, and the blue sofa, and the picture of Miller's daughter. And they all symbolize good life and peace, which can be found only at Colibri. Later, Antonie was sent to a convent. Staying at the convent, Antonie got taken care of by the nuns, who made her feel warm, as she never felt before. Whenever she has a nightmare, the nuns always comfort her by saying, "The dream is evil. Put it from your mind. Never think of it again." And she rubbed my cold hands to warm them, says she. The last piece of warmth to her is her honeymoon house located on the Windward Island. As she said to Christophine about this place, "This is my place, and this is where I belong, and this is where I wish to stay." Unfortunately, she was forced to leave these beloved three places. Colibri was set on fire by the slaves. The arranged marriage forced her to leave the convent, and Mr. Rochester's unfaithful behavior leads her to madness, causing her to leave Jamaica for England. The displacement starts from her arrival at Thornfield Hall in England, where she doesn't fit herself into it at all. Antonie suffers a lot from being displaced and is willing to go back to where she loves. This displacement affects her badly, and she begins to lose her identity and go mad, and she says, "Why I have been brought here, for what reason?" And we can feel her displacement here. And many studies and writings about this novel focus on Antonie's displacement. However, Antonie's husband felt like a stranger in his wife's country and threatened in a foreign land. This can be seen in what Mr. Rochester says on the screen. Everything is too much blue, too much purple, too much green, Dear father, I will never be a disgrace to you or to my dear brother, the son you love. No begging letters, no mean requests. And it displays the evidence of his feelings of discomfort. A person experiencing a sense of not belonging characterizes the concept of displacement. Family obligations can compel a person to make certain life-changing decisions, just as the Mr. Rochester did. Leaving the comforts of home and the familiarity of a routine daily life often leads to a feeling of displacement, and in the case of Mr. Rochester, he had to travel abroad to the Caribbean. His decision hinged on his yearning for his father's love and respect, as well as his dignity, and to prove that he was a man capable of doing well on his own. His circumstances would have led him to feel displaced and thus affect his behavior towards the people around him. This negative behavior is witnessed when the Mr. Rochester changes his wife's name from a French name, Antonia, to an English one, Bertha, in order to feel more in tune with his British roots. And he says, because it's a name I am particularly fond of, I think of you as Bertha. And this was the subtle beginning of the female oppression. And also he felt scared and uneasy, not only that Antonia belonged to her natural surrounding, but that they complemented her. And he says, I hated the sunsets of whatever color. I hated its beauty and its magic, and the secret I would never know. Above all, I hated her, for she belonged to the magic and the loveliness. And Antonia's husband's insecurity and feeling of abandonment led him to experience paranoia. He felt worried for his own safety when continuing to live in Caribbean. He felt an animosity towards everything around him, and his power as a white colonizer was negated, since emancipation had stripped the whites of their authority and rights over the natives and the environment. Antonia's husband had started to express feelings of seclusion and lack of belonging when he was in the Caribbean. He couldn't call his wife's home his own because he felt no comfort there. Antonia had tried to make him feel at ease in Gromboy, the place where she grew up in, and her love for the place was evident when she told of her childhood there. However, it was clear that her efforts were unsuccessful, because she says, I had felt it ever since I saw this place. There was nothing I knew, nothing to comfort me. And also she says he talks about his paranoia, but it seemed to me that everything around me was hostile. The telescope drew away and said, don't touch me. The trees were threatening, and the shadows of the trees moving slowly over the floor menaced me. That grim menace. And as we see from these examples, considering both Antonia's journey to going mad and losing her identity, and Mr. Rochester's feeling discomfort, fear, and alienation in an unfamiliar place, displacement is not a situation that is only experienced by the other, and the self can experience it like Mr. Rochester. It's not a situation to be accessed easily and has a great effect on personality and psychology. as we see from the novel and from the examples. And displacement means loss, means alienation and disorientation. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope you will stay healthy in this pandemic process. See you later.